Hello, folks. This is Dave with the Compass Options Trading Room. Just kind of getting an early start here, getting the webinar set up, and appreciate everybody coming to the webinar this afternoon. If you can see my screen, it should say Compass Dominated Trading Room and Alert Service 81423, and you can hear my voice. If you would just give me a yes in the question box, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. Loud and clear. Great. Happy to hear that. Thanks. Welcome to the room. So we're gonna start about 4. I'm gonna try to start right around 4:30. We'll let people log in. 4:30 is a time that's a lot of people are trading, and they're just kind of wrapping up their trading day. So we'll give them some time. Try to get to 4:30. Might be 4:31 or so. Give everybody time to log in. But again, I appreciate everybody being here. I think you're going to enjoy this webinar. We're going to take a look at my alert service and a couple of pieces of software that are really spectacular, outstanding pieces of software that I use to find the highest probability trades. And we'll go over the software. We'll go over the alert service. We'll go over the methodology we use in the room. I have a trading room as well, the methodology we use to find these high probability trades. And we're going to show you the compass system and the dominator system and how we use those, how we can use those in conjunction with each other. And we'll go into a lot of detail about that. So again, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And the other date should say 8:15. You're right about that, Mark. I put it together last night and put the wrong date on there, but that's okay. That's I'm not going to go back and change it now after I've started the webinar. So 8:15 is what it is. Thanks for pointing that out. Problem is, if I try to go back and change it, I have to end the webinar, start it again, because I'll be updating the deck for the webinar. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it at 8:14. Again, welcome to the room, everybody. Just we got about 7-8 minutes to go. We'll get it started right around 4:30. Again, this is Dave with the Compass Option Trading Room, and we're going to be taking a look at a couple things. We're going to be taking a look at my the alert service for folks who are looking to get information on high probability trades to take, and we're going to look at the Compass and Dominator pieces of software that I use to find these high probability trades. And I also have a trading room, which we'll discuss a little bit, but I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail about this. And I think you're going to find it extremely helpful. And I think trading, looking for the highest probability trade setups, which is what we do for the room and for the alert service, is really, really important. That gives you such a big edge over everybody else who's trying to trade. So we'll be back in just a minute, and welcome to the room. Thanks very much. And I am aware that the date says 8/14 when it's actually 8/15. Sorry about that. I set it up last night and it just plugged in the wrong date, but that's not going to be any kind of a issue for this webinar. And welcome everybody. And a lot of people logging in here. Again, this is Dave. I'm with I have the Compass Options Trading Room and Alert Service, which we're going to be covering today in some pretty good detail. We're going to talk about the different pieces of software I use, the Compass system and the Dominator system, to find these trades that we send out on the Alert Service and we call out in a trading room I've got. We're only looking for the highest probability trade setups. And we'll show you how we do that. We'll go over some of the strategies that we use in the room and strategies that we use to find these particular alerts that you're going to get if you become a member of the service. So hopefully you're going to find this extremely useful. It's the method we use I think is the best method that there is for retail traders. I don't think you can find a better way to find high probability trade setups and have a high win rate. And that's what this is all about, trying to become consistently profitable traders. Week in, week out, month in, month out. Everybody's going to have losses. I have losses. We all have losses. What you're looking for is consistency, month to month to month, where you can be taking in profits each month by following a tried and true strategy and high probability trade setup methodology. So that's what we'll be looking at, and we'll start here in just a few minutes. It's got about 3 or 4 minutes to go. A lot of people logging in. I want to give everybody an opportunity to log in, but again, I'm very cognizant of the time. I appreciate everybody coming here on a Tuesday afternoon after probably a lot of been trading all day and to watch this webinar. So I do appreciate that. Again, good afternoon, everybody, or depending on what time zone you're in. It's coming up on, it's about 4:29. got a lot of people logging in, still people coming into the room. We're gonna have a pretty large crowd today, so I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody coming to spend a little bit of time to look at the Compass Dominated Trading Room and Alert Service. Gonna go into some detail about this. If you're not familiar with the Compass system and or the Dominator system, I'll explain that to you. It's a piece of software that I use to find high probability trade setups, find the start of those, and then we modify them from there to find even stronger ones. So that's what we're going over. I'll show you some of the results and how we've done recently. Again, just to show you what the system will produce, and so you have some idea of how this particular service can benefit you. So again, give me about another minute or so. We've got a lot of people logging in. Again, I know this says the 14th. It's actually the 15th. Sorry about that. That was my mistake when I set it up. So again, good afternoon, and I will be starting in here in just a minute. Okay, everybody. Again, this is Dave, and it's just a little after 4:30 here, so we're going to get started. We've still got a lot of people logging in, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first part, we're just going to kind of talk a little bit about the service and what kind of results we've had. Then we'll get into the meat of the webinar as time goes on. So again, good afternoon. Thanks so much for coming into the room. Again, my name is Dave. I am with the Compass Options Trading Room. I run the Compass Options Trading Room and Alert Service. And I'm going to show you how the results we've had with that and how we find these trades that produce these really, really high win rates for us. So we'll move along here. I can get that 814 off of here. First, I have to go through the disclaimer. All the signals and trading opportunities provided here are for educational and demonstration purposes only. Trading is very risky, so you should never trade with more money than you can afford to lose. And neither myself or Right Line Trading are licensed financial advisors, so we won't be giving financial advice. This is a little disclaimer that we always have to do for any kind of webinar, or I have to do this every morning in the room as well. So this is I want to talk just briefly before we get into this too much about the market, just so make sure everybody understands what drives the market. A lot of people I don't think understand exactly how the market moves. They see a lot of chop. They see stocks moving up, moving down, and it's the way the market moves. It's really important to understand this. These little marbles here, which should actually be tiny little marbles, more like grains of sand. But these little marbles are the retail traders like myself, and I suspect most of everybody here in the room are retail traders. We as retail traders, we can't move the market. We just cannot move the market. We can try and buy and sell stuff, but we're not moving the market. We're not creating a trend. We're just trading, and we're trading. If the institutions aren't in there, we're trading against each other, and you don't really want to do that. Now this big marble back here, this is all of the institutions, and the institutions are made up of the big banks: Goldman Sachs, HSBC, JP Morgan, made up of hedge funds, all of the big hedge funds, all of the mutual funds, Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, all the big mutual funds, and as well as the investment banks. And these are the folks that also use the big banks use algos. They use computer programs that are written to trade, and they look for specific levels, and they look for specific trends or specific setups that retail traders I know about, and they actually write code to try to trap the retail traders in those particular trades and take their money. And if you've traded long enough, you probably have put a stop in and had that stop go down 2 cents below it, takes you out, and then bounces right back up again. that's algos. They can see all of these stops, and they can also look at things like MACD crossovers and RSIs, all the different strategies that retail traders use. They can write code to break those. So these are the people that move up the stock market. These are the folks, the computers and these big investment banks. This is what creates the trend. The trend, whether it's bearish or bullish, it's the institutions that are doing that. We as retail traders, our job, if we want to make money, is not to trade against each other. Our job is to trade in the same direction as these as the institutions are trading. If we can identify when the institutions are in a trade and when they're not, we can increase our probability of winning dramatically, because we're going to be in trades with them. We're not going to be in trades when the retail traders here are trading against each other, creating all kinds of chop and chaos. So this is really important. This is what forms the market, and this is how we can make money, by following those institutions. So there's got to be some software to do that, which we have. So I just want to cover briefly. These are the strategies we use in the options room. I have an options room that's open every day from 9:30 to 4. We call out trades in there, and these are also the trades that I put out on the alert service that we'll be talking about today. So these are basically the trades that we take. Straight calls and puts. You know, that's gonna majority of our stocks are going to be straight calls and puts. We also do debit spreads using weekly options expiration. And all of these strategies, by the way, I have videos on. If you become a member, you'll get the videos on how we do all of these, how they're set up, and how we make money on these things. So we use debit spreads using weekly options expiration. And there's a reason I use weekly options expiration. They're much more profitable using that than going out. Some people go out to debit spreads and they'll go out, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. Debit spreads using weekly options expirations is where you're going to get your best ROI, your best bang for your buck. We also use something called time spreads over earnings. These are what's actually called calendar spreads, what we call them time spreads. And it's the only earnings trade we make. And the reason we do these time spreads is to capture what's called the volatility crush. Options have very high premiums just before earnings occur, because the market makers don't know which direction the stock's going to go, and they don't know how much it's going to go. So they really jack up the premium on the options, and it's created by increasing the volatility. So if there's a strategy here that you can capture the volatility crush or the volatility drop after the earnings come out, and this is what the time spread does. We do quite a few of these when earnings season is underway. It's kind of falling away right now. Earnings, we're in the very end of earnings season right now. We also have something called a weekly ATM strategy to capture premium week after week. This is a trade where we use pretty much at the money puts, and we sell them weekly. We sell weekly puts against a stock that we like. It has to, obviously, it's very critical. Stock selection is critical. But we sell weekly puts against that stock, and then we have a long put, a long dated put, way further out in time, sometimes 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks out in time, and that allows us on a stock that's neutral to bullish to just keep selling these puts every single week and just keep bringing in premium week after week. And this is a really very solid strategy. It's a fairly low risk strategy because you have a long put that's out in time, so the risk is minimal, and the premium you need, or the margin you need, is also minimal. And then within the room, we do what's called the SPY super system, and this is where we take trades on the SPY for the very highest probability trade setups. And for this, we use the Compass system and the Dominator system that I'll go into detail on. So this is the trade you'll be seeing. If you're on the alert service, you're going to be seeing one of these kind of trades. It's unlikely you would see a SPY trade because they're too quick. They only last sometimes 2 candles, 3 candles. You can't really do that with an alert, but everything else can be alerted. All right, so I'm going to go over some results that we've had initially with the two systems, just so you have an idea of what our success rate has been. And I'm showing here that the two systems, the Compass trades and the Compass Dominator trades. The Compass system, as we'll go into in a minute, is a piece of software that identifies when the institutions are in the trade. The Dominator system lets us know what the market internals are. two separate pieces of software looking for two different things. But when they align, it's going to give you a really tremendously high profitability trade. So what we did was the Dominator system came out last October. So what I did was I tracked some trades from October 1st to end of December last year, just using the Compass trades, just using the Compass system, and only did it when the Dominator did not have a buy signal or sell signal. The market internals were neutral, but the Compass system was bullish or bearish. And we had 129 wins and 12 losses for about a 90.2% win rate, which was pretty high. Now, during that same period of time, 10-1 to 12-28, I took trades that had the Compass and Dominator systems lined up. This meant that the Compass system, which is telling me what the institutions are doing, was bullish or bearish, and the Dominator in market internals matched. They were either bullish or bearish at the same time. The institutions were bullish or bearish. So when this lined up, we did 113 wins and 2 losses, 97.4% win rate, extremely high. Now it's much rarer to get these two in combination because a lot of times one will be neutral and the other will be bullish. This will be bullish, that will be neutral. So, but when they both line up, that's a very, very high percentage rate. Not likely to actually be. It's very difficult to maintain that kind of a win rate. But that's what we did with those. So, and these are just some stats of some of the ones. I haven't really updated this. I was on vacation for a while, went to Iceland, and just gotten back recently, and trying to catch up again. But we finished April with 19 wins in a row, and followed by 10 wins in a row in May. So that's a pretty nice win rate. And what I'm using here is a baseline. Anybody who took these trades, and let's say you invested $2,000 in each trade, and that's just an arbitrary number. I use that so I have something that I can compare it to. But if you invested $2,000 in each trade, it produced $11,241 profit for those 29 trades. We didn't have any losing trades in that period of time. Now we have losing trades. Believe me, we have losing trades. But this was a really nice run on this. And a lot of time it depends on how if the market's cooperating, it makes it easier to do this. When you have a choppy market, it's more difficult. But that was a nice run. So this was the Compass Options Trading Room, March through June of 23. This is the latest updates I've got on this. Investing $2,000 in each trade, it shows you. In March, we had 37 wins, 6 losses, 86% win rate, $8,900. April, 35 wins, 5 losses, 87.5% win rate, $4,700 profit. So again, you can see this profit was a little lower, even though the win rate was a little higher. It's because there was we had some not as big wins and a big loss or two. So it adjusted our profitability, but it's still a nice win rate. May, 41 wins, 6 losses. You can see the number of trades usually runs in the low to mid 40s over the whole period of a month. So in May, we had 41 wins and 6 losses, 87.5% win rate, 7,600. And in June, 37 wins, 6 losses, 86% win rate, $8,000 in profit. So that's $29,380 in 6 months with $2,000 invested in each trade. Pretty nice and pretty consistent. Again, the win rate's pretty consistent. The profitability is going to vary depending upon how long you can stay in the trades. If you have to get out and take a loss, there's reasons for that. But you can see the consistency and win rate is pretty high. The consistency in the number of trades is pretty high. And this is again, this is what we called out in the room and what we sent out on the alert service. And this I just kind of wanted to. This is a copy of a spreadsheet that I did. I keep a spreadsheet of my trades. These are my trades in April. I think this was the 19 wins. And I just kind of wanted to show you the trades with this is the price I get in at, the price I get out at, how much we profited, and what the percentage profit was. So you can see the kind of profitability that we get in these trades. And then, listen, I'm not advertising that we do 200, 300, 400% like a lot of people do. We take a lot of 20, 30, 40% wins, 15% wins, take them trade after trade after trade. So these are trades from April 20th to the 27th. These are every trade I took during that period of time. And you can see that the win rates here was obviously very, very high. We did have one break-even trade on win, but generally speaking, you got 10%, 16%, 30%. 27% here, and 22%, 34. So that's kind of what we get on the on these trades that we took. We did one today. We got out of a trade today in Spotify that we've had for a while. It was a short-term swing trade, and we took about 25-30% on it. So that was fine. And you know, that's what we look for. And again, now I want to go over these are some specific trades. And the reason I'm showing you these is I want you to understand how the system, what the system is producing, and then I'm going to go into the methodology we use to find these trades. I think it's important that if you're on an alert service or you're in my room, that you know how I'm finding these trades. Now, if you're in the room, you're going to know it because I go over a lot of education and I explain how it's done. But I want everybody to understand when you get a trade, when you look at a chart, you'll have an idea of why we took it. So these were the May trades. Again, you can see, again, with consistent pricing here, consistent of anywhere from small 7% up to 46% here in Twilio. This was a weekly ATM that we talked about as one of the strategies we do. We did this on Microsoft, 40% win rate, and you see we had some losses here. Twilio, a couple of these, we had a news event to go against us. Alta, we had a news event go against us, and Twilio, we had a news event go against us. Can't do anything about that. I mean, that's going to happen. But again, we had May 37 wins, 7 losses, 85% win rate, and these are the most of the trades. I can't put every single one up there, but that just gives you a flavor for the May trades. Into June trades, same thing. You can see pretty much the same thing. I said here June so far. We've obviously closed since then. I haven't updated it since then, but we had 37 wins and 6 losses for 86% win rate. And here are the trades that we took. I'm very transparent about the trades I take. I'm very transparent about the losses that we take. I think it's important for people to understand that the trading is risky. You're going to take some losses. We all do, but we take way more wins than we take losses. So here was our June trades, and you can see that it had that consistency. We had this was a nice trade, 53% in Mara, 40% in GME as a time spread, AVGO 45% as a call debit spread. These are a couple of the strategies we talked about. So this kind of gives you a feel for June, and I had put July in here. This is when I stopped doing it because I went on vacation. But again, we had 14 wins and 0 losses that part of July. I can't remember what we ended up with, but we had 3 or 4 losses, and I think because I was on vacation, we had about 20 wins and 3 losses or 4 losses, something like that. But these were some of the profits that we had. Again, we held overnight on Meta for a nice 40%. Here's a time spread that I talk about over earnings, a time spread that I talk about over earnings, 29%, and a time spread on TDOC over earnings, 35%. So those are the July trades. So just so you have a flavor of what you can expect when you get these trades. And again, you will have losses. We all have losses. Just be aware of that. Now these are, I just kind of wanted to put here, these are the actual alerted trades, and we'll go over exactly how that service works. But these are, I've got 2 pages of them here, but I just want you to see how they work. This was when we had got in the afternoon and get out the next morning, in at 81, out at $1.21, 50% profit. So if you had 2,000 invested in that overnight, it was $1,000 overnight. In for 33, out for 43 in the next morning. This means we kept these overnight. Now, a lot of these trades I'll put them on in the afternoon and take them off in the morning. And one of the reasons we do those when we can is because there's a lot of traders that are under PDT rules. They're pattern day traders, and they can only do 3 day trades every 5 days, every 5 rolling days. So they need to be able to take trades that can be put on one day and then taken off the next day for a profit, and that doesn't count against their pattern day trading rules. So that's why a lot of these, I noticed that this is in the morning, in the afternoon, out in the morning, in the afternoon, out in the morning. Entered here at 266, out the next day for 366, and out again 38% profit. So you can see these. I'm not going to go over every one, but you can see these were profitable trades that we sent out on the alerts. This was an intraday trade right here. Entered for $4, out for $4.50. Less than 2-hour trade. $2,000 invested, created $250 profit in about an hour and a half. So 13%. So we do have some intraday trades too. Quite a few intraday trades. We had one today in SE as a short that we took a profit in. And these are some more of the recent trades that we did for the alerts, just so you can see typically what we're doing here. These are, you can see the percentage gains are very, very similar to what we looked at on the other chart. So this kind of shows you what you can expect from the system, from the methodology, and from the alerts that we get into working in the room, what you can expect month after month. All right, now let's talk about the Compass Alert Service and how this works. And I think this is really a really great service. We're only going to be sending out the highest probability trades. We're not taking a lot of speculative trades, but the trades we send out are very high probability. It's designed for day traders and short-term swing traders. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who want to day trade and who look for short-term swings. When I say short-term swings, I'm talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 day to maybe a week. I think Spotify, we were in for about 8 or 9 days, but usually it's going to be a couple of days to a week. It might go to 2 weeks, but generally not any longer than that. I'm not doing any long-term swing trades. The market is just too unsure of what it's going to do for that longer period of time. It's also designed for traders who can't watch the market all day. A lot of people have jobs, but they'd like to be able to make some money to supplement their income trading, and this is perfect for them. And we're going to be sending out real-time alerts on the highest probability trade setups. What you're going to be seeing when you get a trade is it's a very high probability trade setup coming from the criteria that I'm going to show you here in just a little bit. And how do we find the highest probability trade setups? Well, we do this by identifying institutional involvement. We talked about that earlier. We only want to be in trades when the institutions are in the trades. And market internals, and we use market internals if the market internals are in our favor, along with the Compass system and institutional trading. And then we do technical analysis on the trades to find the best of the best. And it's a thing I call Top Gun, which is a video I put out, which tells you that how we find the highest probability trades using the Compass system and the Dominator system in combination, and then the specific technical analysis we go into to find even the very, very best of those particular trades. So those are the ones that you'll be getting. Now the trades will be alerted by SMS message. You get them on your cell phone. Again, we trade the best and skip the rest, something I post in the room every day. Every alerted trade will include the stock symbol, obviously, the option strike price, the option expiration date, and the price to pay for the option, either a specific price or a range, like $1 to $1.05, something like that. And most of the time when I send out the alert, you're not going to have a sell price on it when you first get the alert. Once we're in the trade, then I'll make a determination of what the profit target should be, or the loss target if we have to take it off. But I'm going to take a profit. I'm going to set the profit target after that. So once the profit target has been set, then I go ahead and send out the alert, and I'm going to specify in there GTC. I want you to put the trade on good till canceled, so that the trade will be active in the morning. In case you're not available in the morning, you want that trade working when the market opens, because a lot of times you'll get a gap up in your favor or a gap down in your favor, and you get the trade will be canceled, will be closed. And if you didn't put good till canceled on there and you had to go in the next day and put the trade on again, you may miss it. So that's the why we do that. But so you'll get the option price, the strike price, the stock symbol, expiration date, price to pay, and then you'll get another alert with the sell price. Like I think on Spotify we had a purchase price of $5, and we sold it today for $5.70, and that went out with a $5.70 sell on it. And so you can see that, you put your order in and you're done. All right, so the question is, how do we achieve such stunning results? So we're going to get into some of the detail of how I find these trades and how we're so successful with these trades. So how do we achieve these stunning results? Well, we're able to identify when institutions are driving a trade and when the market internals are bullish or bearish. These two things together make us the highest probability trades. Now we can have high probability trades when the institutions are in there and have the market internals neutral, and we'll still take the trades. But they're even better if the market internals are also in our favor. Now, if we're bullish on the market and the institutions are in buying, but the market internals are bearish. We're getting sell signals on that. I won't take the trade. I'm not gonna trade against the market internals, but that's generally not the case. So we only take trades when either both of these are in our favor, or when the market internals are neutral and the compass system, which identifies institutions, are long. So we're only going to take trades when the institutions are buying, or we'll go short if the institutions are selling. If the institutions aren't in the trade, we're not going to be in the trade. Again, trade the best, skip the rest. That's how we find these. All right, so here are the two systems we're going to talk about. And besides the alert service, these are the two pieces of software that are, for anybody who wants, they're available. I own them, obviously, but you can get them if you want. You can just be in the room, or you can just be in the alert service. But I want you to be aware of these software, and I'm going to show you the charts on these. The compass system, which is the one we've been talking about, that identifies stocks that are being moved by institutional buying or selling. Okay, it also identifies stocks that do not have any institutional buying or selling in them. We're only interested in the ones that the institutions are buying or selling. The dominator system, which is the second system, that displays market internals and produces buy or sell signals when the difference in the number of stocks moving up on up volume and up ticks is much, much larger than stocks moving down on down volume and down ticks. So if you've got 500 stocks moving up on up volume and up ticks, and 100 moving down on down volume and down ticks, that's going to be a buy signal on the compass, on the dominator system. Now, a lot of times you don't get that big a disparity, so it's going to be neutral. But that's what the dominator system look at. And these are two different things. The compass system is looking what the institutions are doing with a particular stock. The dominator system is looking what the indexes are across all 5 indexes, which we'll talk about in a minute, what the market internals are for those. So they're different. The market internals can be moving up. You could have a lot of stocks moving up. It doesn't necessarily mean that institutions are in there right then. But when they're both lined up, then they are. All right, so how does the compass system identify when the institutions are in the trade? This is really important. There's no software other than the compass system that I know that can actually identify when institutions are in a trade. So we do what's called a triple screen assessment, and this is a fancy way of saying we're looking across multiple time frames. And we look at 4 different things. We look at momentum. This is really important. We look at the momentum across the current time frame and across multiple time frames. And we look at the trend across current time frame, multiple time frames. We look at the money flow across the current time frame and multiple time frames. And then we look at what's called the quant here. And the quant are related instruments. If you're looking, for example, at Microsoft, the quants will tell you what the stocks that normally trade with Microsoft, 70% of the time or more, what if they're moving in the same direction or not. And this is important. And again, this is across multiple time frames. So when you have all of these things lined up, the institutions are in there buying or selling. That's the only way you can get all of these things lined up across multiple time frames if the institutions are in there. Or I shouldn't say always, but about 99% of the time. Okay, and now the dominator systems for market internals. What the dominator system does is it looks at 5 indexes. It looks at the Dow, it looks at the New York Stock Exchange, triple Qs, the NASDAQ, the SPY, the S&P 500, and the Russell 2000. And again, it analyzes the number of stocks moving up on up volume and up ticks versus number of stocks moving down volume and down ticks. Now, this doesn't say how fast they're moving. This just tells you that there's more stocks moving up than moving down on volume and ticks. When there's a large disparity, as I just said, when there's 500 moving up, 100 moving down, the software is going to create a buy signal if it's long and a sell signal if it's short. And it can use, as I said, you can use this in conjunction with the compass system to define even higher probability trade setups to find those. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for these trades. Those 2 things, compass system, dominator system. Okay, so I'm going to show some charts of recent trades showing examples of these high probability trade setups. I'm going to show you the compass system, and I'm going to show you the dominator system. Because I want you to be aware of, if you get in the market, the alert service, I want you to know where these trades are coming from. How am I finding these particular high probability trade setups? So if you use the software, you can find them yourself. So here's, this is a trade we did on Disney, right? This is Disney not that long ago. This is the 5-minute chart on Disney. And this is the compass system. This is the compass system on on Thinkorswim. I have it loaded on Thinkorswim. Let me just take a quick sip of water. So we have the Thinkorswim, and this is the compass system loaded on Thinkorswim, and these are the indicators we're most interested in. This one here is what's called the current time frame momentum. This is the 5-minute time frame momentum, 5 minutes, and we're looking at Disney. This is a 5-minute. This is a multi-time frame momentum on Disney. This is across the 5 minutes, the 15-minute, the 45 minutes. Red and yellow are bearish, green and blue are bullish. It's pretty simple, but it's not simple for these things. It's not simple for these to calculate it. It's got to go through some fairly complicated, complex calculations to find this. So on here, and this is the quant line, by the way. I'm not going to go into every single piece of the compass system, but this is the quant, and this is the bias, and this is the momentum. And these are the important ones. Now this is the 5-minute chart on Disney. So this purple line here is what's called the VWAP, or the volume weighted average price. And it's one of the lines we use for support and resistance. We look to go short when the price is below that. This little thin line here is the 15 EMA of an EMA. This is a smooth EMA. It's not the standard EMA, so it isn't as herky-jerky. And if it's red, the market's set up short. So this pink, this is a blue arrow right here. This is what's called a pop out of the box signal that is generated by the compass system. And it tells me right here that the stock is coming out of compression. That tells me the stock is breaking out of compression. So this was the breakdown right here. Below the VWAP breakdown, this is where we bought the trade. Now you notice when we bought it, everything was red. This had to be red. So this I knew was a bearish. I knew the institutions were in here selling. This is telling me they've been selling. There's a lot of selling bias. So we get in the trade and we ride it down. Now notice that the market was kind of moving sideways here, just kind of compressing, but everything stayed red. So we knew that the institutions were still selling. It just wasn't moving down yet. A lot of times you'll get these sell signals and these selling, and it doesn't immediately head down, but it tells you that they're in there selling. So we stayed in it. It popped down again. We stayed in it. It was red. It popped down again. We get out right here. We get out here just before it turned blue, as the 15 was starting to flatten out a little bit, and we got these yellow trend dots. They went from red to yellow. This is where we get out of the trade, and this was a nice trade in Disney. And you can see how easy it is to see that it was bearish. It has a pop out of the box signal to the downside coming out of compression. So that's the compass system. And I won't go over all these indicators again. I'm just going to show you charts with them. So here's Verizon, same thing, same kind of a trade. We went short Verizon. I think this was actually on the same day. Again, are the institutions selling? They sure are selling. This was the morning when the market opened. They're selling all the way across the board here. Again, it's compressing, it's compressing. Now we're not coming in on a compression. We're waiting for a break. We want to wait for us to get our price. We see here it breaks down right here. Here we get in. We get right here in Verizon. We take it short and we write it down. We write it down, and we wrote it down further than this, but this was where the chart ended here. But you can see everything is red all the way down. So this was a beautiful trade. We're getting these pop out of the box signals coming out of compression, one right after another. Very high probability setup. UPST, this was a long trade. Now again, we're looking at the compass system. We're looking for blue and green. We're looking for blue and green here. So we look here, and there was some blue and green all the way across here. We're looking for something to tell us when do we want to enter this. And the VWAP was pretty far away. So what we're looking for is to enter on like a bounce, a pullback to the 15 EMA, for example. And what we did right here is, as this pulled back to the 15 EMA, and the trend dots went from yellow to green, and everything down here was green, we bought in right here, and we rode this up. Now we had a little bit of a pullback, and then compression, then a lot of compression, and it moved up, but it gave us a nice win when we get up here. So we took the trade off up here, and we're getting the pop out of the box signal, but everything is green. So you can see the institutions are buying UPST on this particular day. So you're going to go long. It's just a matter of trying to find the when to get in. And again, we're looking for something to bounce off of support so that we're fairly close to a support level that gives us downside protection on the trade. This is UPST as well. And you can see that on here, this one, you notice how the compass system is yellow here, and then it goes blue. So this is a good entry right here, because you see how it's coming off the 15 EMA right here, and the compass goes blue. This is telling us now the institutions are in there buying. You can go ahead and buy it, and we did. And these, by the way, these candlesticks right here are Fibonacci candles. I use Fibonacci to identify reversals. What I look for is a wick and a tail on a candlestick like that, followed by a flat bottom. When you get a flat bottom on a Fibonacci candle, that's an indication that the stock has become bullish, and it's a nice entry level right there. And you notice it went from yellow to blue, perfect entry, and ride it up. And so I just kind of want to show you how we do these, how we find these trades using the compass and the dominated systems. Now, this is a daily chart on Meta. This is a Meta daily chart. This is one we took overnight. You see how it's kind of running long and compressing. We took it long right here as it came off the 15 EMA on the daily, and the trend dots went from yellow to green, and everything's green. Institutions are buying it. You can see they've been buying it all the way along here, but it's really not moving much. But once we get the pop here off of this 15 EMA, we took it overnight, and we get out right here. We just did a one overnight trade on it. It bounced up here, and we get out of the trade. It was a nice trade. And again, you can use daily charts like I did here for finding overnights or swing type trades, short-term swings. This is a trade on the SPY, and now again, we're looking at the SPY. Now these can be fairly quick trades. I want to show you. This is what's called the SPY super system setup. Now, I talked about the super system, and I talked about how we use the compass system to have find out when the institutions are in the trade. We're going to have the dominated system to tell us what the market internals are. So now here's the VWAP right here, this pink line. So we can see the SPY is below the VWAP, so it's bearish. But I'm looking down here, and I've got yellow and red, so I can see the institutions are selling this. But I'm looking for a nice entry spot. See, this 15 is yellow here. See how it turns red? I'm coming across here. Where I actually waited for was I waited for this pop out of the box signal right here as it broke down below the 15 and was coming out of compression right here, and everything is red. I know the institutions are selling this. I went ahead and take puts on it here and wrote it down. And again, we didn't ride this very long. You can't stay in SPY trades very long, but you can see the move down, and then we get a little bit of green here, and I get out, and you see this went to blue. So we're out of the trade right down here. Now, what I want to show you is this is the compass system telling me that the institutions are in here selling. All right, so that's one half of the information we need for the SPY super system. The second half is the dominator system. Here is the dominator system. This runs on Ninja. The dominator system runs on Ninjas, and it's not that complicated. This is all the market. This is all of the internals down here for the different indexes we talked about. But the key things that you're looking for on the dominator program is the background color is pink is bearish, and you're looking for sell signals, red sell signals, just like this. So again, here is SPY on the dominator system. Here is SPY on the compass system. See how it's bearish, bearish. So once you've decided to to get in, you can get in right here, or you can get in anywhere along here as the dominator system is red. This is the SPY super system. This is extremely high probability trade setups when these things align. Now, they don't align all the time, but when they align like this, the likelihood that you're going to make money on going on a short here is very, very, very high, very, very high. As I told you, we had a 97% win rate when we did this from last October to December. So that was a system test that we did. So, and again, you can see the dominator is red and that pink background sell signals. Those two together give you the SPY super system setup. Okay. Now here's a trade in Netflix, just so we can see another trade that we did in Netflix off the compass system. This is the institutions. All right, so this is where we get into Netflix again. You see how the colors are changing down here? You got blue, you got yellow, you got blue, you got yellow. This is telling you there's really no institutional selling significant, but it's starting to here because it turned to yellow, which means the institutions are selling. And it's coming off this VWAP right here, this volume weighted average price coming down off of there. See this pop out of the box signal? This tells you compression's breaking. Here's where we get in right here on Netflix, because this went from blue to yellow. this broke down and we took this trade and we wrote this thing down and we get out right here for 20% profit. And we just wrote it down. We had a target set to take 20%. So that's what we did. But again, you can see how easy it is to see that the institutions are selling on this trade. And this is a SPY trade that we took off of just right off of the dominator system. And we just took SPY. Some people actually trade right off the dominator system, but you can see right here that the background color goes from black to pink. So this is bearish. Here's your breakdown with the sell signals. We took it right here on this candlestick and just rode this thing down right here. SPY 3 points, $250 a contract on that off the dominator system. So that just shows you what the dominator system looks like. And I'm using these together all the time to find trades. Tesla, nice short trade in Tesla. Again, lots of colors here. Lots of colors in this 5 minute, lots of chop. You can see you're getting a lot of chop. You get red, you get blue, but here, when I'm getting a pop out of the box signal here, and it's coming off of the VWAP, everything is yellow or red right there on that candlestick. Everything is yellow or red. And that tells me I can take it short, which I did right off the 15 EMA, the thin red line. Took it and got these pop out of the box signals kept up, and we wrote it to this is the end of the day. This is at 4 o'clock right here. We took this Tesla trade short, and that's a nice move. It's from 113 to about 109. That was a nice trade. I also want to show you we took an overnight trade in Tesla. Now you notice here at the end of the day, this is at 4 o'clock. You see how we're getting these sell signals at the end of the day on Tesla, and everything was red or yellow. So I knew that it was bearish. And you know, overnights are always tricky, but we did take this overnight, and we bought puts on this, and the stock fell overnight. It fell from 120 to $112. The puts exploded, you can imagine. We stayed in it and we watched it until we felt like we had a fair profit in it at this point. Everything stayed red across the board. We had one little blue here, but it stayed red, and we get out right here and we took, I think, about $7 a contract on that thing. That was a pretty nice trade for Tesla, doing it overnight. And another one is Z. Just so you can see these, here's a breakdown off the trend dots right here. This is where we get in. Everything was red, selling going on. Institutions are selling off. We buy it. It wasn't really a very big trade. We get a lot of compression here. Institutions were still selling, but there wasn't a lot of downward moving in the market. All right, Oxy. This is Oxy. We took this as a daily chart. See this big move? This told us that we wanted to be long the stock. The compass system telling us the institutions are in there buying. We want to be buying this thing. So that's the daily chart. Here's Oxy on the 5 minute chart. So what do we do when we have a big candle like that? Well, we're looking for an entry based on the compass system that's telling us when the institutions are in there buying. And we're getting some yellow, and then we're getting blue, yellow, blue. Now we're getting yellow and blue, but now we've got blue and we've got a pop out of the box signal. We know this is coming out of compression. It's coming off the 15 EMA. This is where we enter the trade right here. It stays blue or green and it rides it right up, and then we start getting some pops, and we get out here and we took the trade off right up here on Oxy. This was a nice trade. That's from about 12.50 till about 120 or so, 125. About an hour and a half. That was intraday trade for us. All right, and this was a Tesla. I like to show this one. This was a good one, and I want to show this because these are Fibonacci candles. And I'll switch my charts to Fibonacci during the day to look for an entry, because Fibonacci candles can show you what would be considered a reversal, a confirmation of a reversal. So when you get these candlesticks like this that are very small and they have wicks and tails, and then you go to flat bottoms. When you go to flat bottoms on these Fibonacci candles, that's a bullish Fibonacci reversal. This told me that I had a bullish Fibonacci reversal here and here. Here's where we get into the trade, and you notice that the bottom stayed flat all the way up on these Fibonacci candles. That's a big long trend, and the candlesticks even got bigger. The pop out of the boxes kept coming. This was a really nice trade using Fibonacci candles, and I switch back to regular candles when I want to exit the trade. I want to catch the reversal quickly, so I don't want to wait for a confirmation of reversal. I want to take my money. Another nice SPY trade here, and again, I'm showing you what when you get the alerts or you're in the room and we're calling out trades, I want you to see what I'm looking for. And we'll, if you're in the room, we show these during the day. I show charts all the time. I have the SPY app so we can see what it's doing. And people ask me questions about what do I think about John Deere? What do I think about Caterpillar? What do I think about the Qs? We'll bring up the charts and we'll say, okay, what's the compass system telling us? What's happening here? Well, we got a pop out of the box signal. We go from blue to yellow, and we've got red here on the multi-time frame. That's a sell, and it's coming right below the VWAP. So this is where we would take puts as it breaks down. We write it down, flattens out, we get out. We're not going to stay in once we get a profit and we're getting this kind of a compression, we're out of the trade. And you notice it switched back to blue, but it's pretty easy to see that the institutions were selling the SPY. This is Meta. This is Meta on a daily chart. We took this just as an overnight as it broke out of this shaded area. This is something else the compass system produces. This is called a dynamic compression zone. Dynamic compression zone is a zone that's calculated by the compass system to show you a zone that the stock is in that you want to see a break above or a break below. In this case, you want to see a break below because you notice that it went blue to yellow, bullish to bearish on a big candlestick down. That's where we took it short. And crowd, same thing with crowd. This is a crowd daily chart. Here's the dynamic compression zone. See the crowd coming out of this dynamic compression zone to the downside. Notice it went from green to yellow, went from bullish to bearish. You've got confirmation that it's breaking down over dynamic compression zone. Beautiful trade for a swing. We didn't keep this long. We stayed in the trade a couple of days and then we get out and took money. Because you start to get a little antsy when it starts to get extended a long way down. But we did take the money on that. But it's easy to see how it worked. IBM, same thing, daily chart on IBM. Big pop here. We took IBM as it went. This was dividends. We took it right here, and we just took it overnight and wrote it up here and get out. Really a nice trade, very short trade. I mean, these are not long-term trades. It was up about $4. Now here's one here. This is QSR, and I want to show you how we use QSR using the daily time frame, the 5-minute time frame, and the dominator system. This is how we traded QSR. Now here's QSR switching from yellow to blue. All right, so it's coming up. This is where we get into the trade. See this pop here on the daily chart, and it's popping up nicely, and you can see that it's bullish. The institutions are in buying. So what do we do when it happens? Well, we're looking at the 5-minute. Where are we going to get into this trade? Now we've got to find a good entry spot. So I'm looking for a good entry spot. I'm watching as the stock moves along the 15. I'm watching the compass system. It's going yellow, red, blue. Okay, I'm starting to show some buying. Back to yellow again. Now a little bit of selling. Okay, now it goes to get green. And I'm waiting for a pop out of the box signal here. And here I get a pop out of the box signal where I've got green across the board. This is where I get into the trade, QSR. So we knew it looked good on the daily. Here it is nice in the 5-minute. And here we ride it up, and we just take this up for about 7 or 8 candles. Notice it went to yellow, we're out of the trade. We took profits. Now I want to show you what this was like at 11 o'clock in the morning, 11:15. I want to show you what the dominator system was saying on QSR at the same time. Here's 11 o'clock in the morning. Notice that the background went to dark green. That's a multi-time frame bullish trend. Now there's a couple of places you could get into this. You could get into it right here because you've got a green background and you've got a compass system that's telling you to buy. Or you could wait until you get the buy signal if you're conservative. But the fact is I got in here because of the fact that I already had a compass system telling me that that the institutions were buying, and I didn't have any sell signals on here. So I knew that the dominator system was at least neutral. It went bullish right here, but it was at least neutral. So this is where I took the trade. But this was a nice trade. You can see that it just kept going up, and you kept having buy signals across the board on this thing, even as it compressed. Now I'm not going to ride across compression like that. I'm going to get out of the trade. But it was still very bullish. So that's how we use the daily, the 5-minute, and the dominator together to find these trades. And again, the whole reason I'm going through this is if you're in the alert service, you might not care. You get a trade, you're going to take the trade, you just want to make some money on it. You don't care where the trade came from. But a lot of people want to know where this trade's coming from. How are you finding these trades? How are you getting this kind of a win rate? What's the methodology? And then there's people who want to do it themselves. They want to get the compass system and or the dominator system. They want to get them. buy them and use them and find their own trades based on this. Because I'm not a magician. I'm using institutional involvement and market internals. And then I do, I would consider myself a good technical analyst to find the technical levels and things to buy for. So here's the SPY. You can see the SPY here. We get a black background. Black background on dominator is neutral. Pink background is bearish. Now right here, you can see we get a bearish signal here, a sell signal on the SPY. This is a 15 EMA on the Ninja platform. This is where you would take the trade right here and then just write it down quickly. The SPY trades can't last a long time. This is, they don't usually. This is 3 candles to the downside. I'm out when I get down here like this. As soon as I see a green candle, I'm done with this. The buy signal goes away and then it comes back again, but the market just kind of chops. But this is the trade that I took. And here's another nice one right here. Again, this is a light green. It looks bluish. This is a light green background, dark green background. So this is a bullish setup. You could take it here if you were aggressive, because notice the market internals all went green. You could take it here, or you could wait until you went to dark green background and then make your buy here, and then just write it up. And again, interesting thing is you can see that as this market pulls back, the market internals are still bullish. These are the retail traders trying to pick the top and then getting slaughtered. Same thing here. It still stays long. The retail traders trying to sell off, boom, it comes in and crushes them again. Happens all the time. Netflix, another one. So I just kind of want you to see this is a dominator, so you can see what the setups look like and what the actual chart looks like on a bullish chart. You've got the market internals all green. You've got a buy signal. It's unlikely you would catch this. This is too big a candle. But what you would do is wait for compression. You can see the compression, and then buy right here, and write it up. Or if you hadn't got in, you wait till it comes back again, and then buy it right here near the top of the 15, and just write it up, and you get buy signals all the way up. And SPY, another nice one in the SPY. Again, see the colors? Here we got neutral, black, light pink, bullish, bearish with a sell signal. You could take it right here, or you could wait till you got here and then take it as it goes to a dark pink and then write it down. That's what I'm looking for. So here's the SPY on the compass system. Same thing. Again, here's this was late in the day. The compass system goes all green here. We get a pop out of the box signal. You go ahead and buy the SPY right here, and you write it up till it's right to the close of the day and get out. And I don't hold the SPY overnight generally. And that was a nice little trade off the compass system, showing us that the institutions were buying. Same thing. Here's a SPY. This is the same. Basically, this is the SPY on the compass that day. This is a SPY on the dominator that day. Notice you've got buy signals here. Everything's green. Pop out of the box signals. Over here, same thing. Everything's green. You get buy signals. Dark green background telling you to buy it. Here's the end of the day. So this move up here is exactly the same as this move up right here. This is it on the dominator. This is it on the compass. Okay, so that's the compass system and the dominator system, and how I use them. And again, the point is here to know how I'm finding these trades to send out an alerts. I think I try to be transparent, and I want everybody who's in the alert service or in the room to know where these trades are coming from. Where am I finding these trades? So that they can also do the same thing. And a lot of people in the room will post their trades, and we've got a lot of members who are finding these high probability trade setups because I can't see them all, obviously. So again, the strategy we use in the room that will go out on the alert service in the room is straight calls and puts, mostly. Debit spreads using weekly options expiration, time spreads over earnings, which actually calendar spreads to capture the volatility crush. Weekly ATM strategy to capture premium week after week after week on a stock that is that's basically neutral to bullish, and we can just keep reeling in premium every week while we have a longer term dated put to protect us in case the market turns down. And the SPY super system, which we do in the room, is not going to be alerted because they're too quick. I can't send out an alert and then send another alert 45 seconds later. It's just not practical. So that actually kind of covers it. And what I'm going to do here is I just want to just go over what we have here for an offer. The Compass Alert Service, which is where you get these sent to your SMS alert service on your phone. It's $9.97 a year, $2.97 a quarter, and you've seen the price of how much money we've been making on this. It's a pretty good deal. But $9.97 a year and $2.97 a quarter. These will come out via SMS alerts. The first 10 people sign up will get a month in the live trading room, 30 days in my live trading room. You'll get a master class series, which is all the videos I've done on all our strategies, on the Compass system, on how to find the top gun trades, how to use the Dominator system, how to use the Compass system to find the best trades, how we do time spreads, how we do debit spreads, how we do weekly ATMs. All of that is defined in videos. They're about 30 minutes long each, so they won't take up a whole lot of your time. And you're going to learn the secrets to my winning trades. That's what I try to teach. You know, what I'm trying to teach in the room is to help people become consistently successful traders. Now, the Compass system, if you're interested in the software itself, the Compass system is $9.97 annually. And again, if you buy the Compass system first 10, you're going to get a market scanner for a year. There's a market scanner in the Compass system that comes with it, so you'll get that. You'll also get live access to my trading room and the SMS alerts for a month. And you'll also get the masterclass series, which is what I just talked about, all of those videos. And if you're interested in the Compass and the Dominator system together, you can get them both for $14.97 a year for both the Compass and the Dominator. And it comes with all of the same benefits: the market scanner, the live trading room for a month, and the masterclass series. So you can get the Compass system, the Dominator system together with it, or just the Compass system, which is right here, or just the alert service. The alert service, again, $9.97 a year, $2.97 a quarter. And we went over the kind of trades we send out, and you saw the results that we get with this particular kind of service. So those are the offers. If you're interested in it all, and I'm going to go back and look at some questions here. If you're interested in further information, put your name and phone number in the question box or the chat box, or your Skype username. One of the members from the room will give you a call. They'll just call you one time just to answer your questions. They won't be calling you back. They're just going to call you once to answer any questions that you may be interested in. So if you've at least been interested, or you think you may be, but you're not sure, go ahead and put your name and phone number in the question box there, or your Skype name, and likely Rory will call you back to go over this. Okay, so and again, here's the offer: $14.97 for the Compass and the Dominator, $9.97 annually. Really a good price for the Compass system, and the alert service, $9.97 a year, $2.97 a quarter if you just want to try it out. All right, so let me just check questions here and see what we've got. We have quite a few. All right. Talk about the different services. They seem so confusing. I'm David Wise, exactly. Somebody's we put our stop in and the algos take us out. Aren't we moving the markets? No, because you're not the only one that's got to stop there. They're looking at all the stops. The algos are moving the market. You're not. You just happen to be getting moved by the market. Talk about the different services. Now, if you're talking about all the different right line services, there's a couple of other rooms. There's a prop trader room where they use futures, mostly futures in the Dominator system to set up, to try to get prop accounts. And that's David Cushing that does that. And then there's Craig does the futures room. We have a room where they just trade futures. Now, both of those rooms typically run from 8:30 in the morning or so till about 11 or so. My room is an option trading room, and it runs all day. It runs from market open to market close each day. So it just kind of depends on what you want to trade, but those two rooms are available to you, and you likely would be using the Ninja platform for the Dominator system to use that. All right. That's a a great winning ratio. What is the overall gain in each strategy? You know, I'd have to go back. I do have all this stuff. I obviously have a journal. I do have all this stuff in there. with time spreads, weekly ATMs, different puts, calls, etc. But I don't know. I know what the overall winning strategy is, winning record is. I don't know what each one is. What I try to do is when I see a trade. I mean, listen, everything boils down to the stock. You're looking for a specific stock that meets your criteria. Then once you've decided that it's a high probability trade setup and it's one you want to trade, then you have to figure out what's the best way to trade this. How am I going to get the best ROI? What's my best risk reward? If the spreads are really wide, I've got to go with a debit spread. If the options are very expensive, maybe you got to do a debit spread. How far out in time do I go? So I have to make a decision as to how to structure the trade based off of once you've got the stock. I mean, it could be a put credit spread, it could be a call credit spread, it could be a debit spread using weekly, it could be a weekly ATM. So I have to decide what strategy to use once I find that stock. No sound. No, I think everybody hears me all right because I'm getting a bunch of questions here. How much capital to be invested? Well, that's a good question. If you're going to be a day trader, a full-time day trader, you need to have at least 25 to 30,000 in your account, because if you don't want to be under PDT rules, pattern day trader rules, you have to have 25,000. The SEC requires it. But if you're going to trade off the alerts, generally I would say 5 to 10,000 will get you started, and you just have to put in. You've got to use judgment as far as your risk is concerned. If you got a $5,000 account, you don't want to be putting $2,000 into a trade. You want to be putting something in the neighborhood of $250 to $500 into a trade. Are all the trades intraday? No, they're not. I had mentioned earlier that I do a lot of overnights. All the time spreads are overnight. All the credit spreads are overnight. The weekly ATMs are all overnight. I do intraday trades on long puts and calls. I also do some intraday trades on debit spreads, but debit spreads can actually also be overnight. So I have a mixture so that folks who are under PDT rules will get trades that they can take and not have to worry about getting out the same day. More recent trades, I just mentioned a couple of them. I don't have them in front of me right now. We did take profits in Spotify today. That was a short-term swing. We took profits in SE today. That was an intraday trade that we took short. I'd have to go back and look at the record. I'm just kind of showing an overview of the trades we've taken. Again, I was on vacation for first part of July and kind of getting back into the swing. But I generally each month I put out a video to all the members. That's what's called a Periscope, which goes over the trades that we've taken and the wins, the losses, the overall percentage gains, etc. This is not a time-based chart. Yes, this is a time-based chart. These are 5-minute charts and daily charts. That's what I use, 5 minutes and daily. One of the things I always use is I go to a 5-minute chart to find if I like the stock. I look the stock and the 5-minute looks good. I always go to the daily chart. I start with the daily chart. I must have a good daily chart that lines up with my 5-minute chart. So if I'm going to take, like I took SE short today. The SE short was off earnings this morning, and I took it short. It had to have a bearish daily chart before I would take it. I'm not taking anything long if I've got a bearish daily chart because I can't stay in the trade that long, and I can't take it overnight. Toss says market internals. Why do you need NinjaTrader? The market internals. You have to understand what market internals are. You're not getting the market internals that NinjaTrader gets that comes from Kinetic. It's looking across 5 different indexes and looking across all of those indexes and then putting all those indexes together, all 5 of them, to come up with a buy signal and sell signal. I mean, if you're looking at the Dow and you've got a lot of stocks moving up versus stocks moving down, but you've only got 30 stocks, it doesn't have as much of an influence on a buy signal or a sell signal as the Russell 2000 does, and TOS does not have that. Do I know when I'm going to have an intraday trade and when it's going to be overnight? Well, I know that my time spreads are generally going to be overnight, and I know that my weekly ATMs are going to be overnight. The straight puts and straight calls, I don't really know when I get into them, because it depends on what kind of a profit target I got. And one of the main things that you're looking at when you take a trade, and this is very important, it's very critical to be aware of what the market's doing. You've got to know what the market's doing, because the market is going to decide whether you should stay in the trade longer or get out quickly. When you get a choppy market and it's chopping all over the place, it's very difficult to hold the stock a long time. So if I've got 20% in the trade and I get in at like at 10 o'clock in the morning and it's 12 o'clock and I get 20% and the market's just chopping around, I'm going to take the profits. Now, but I will tell you that it's one that can be taken overnight, because I'll look at like I'm in Amgen right now. We took Amgen today, took Amgen long, and it's a small short-term swing trade going out to the first week in September on that. So it's a nice short-term swing trade. And when I get into that, I told everybody that this is likely we're going to carry overnight. You know, if it jumped up $2 today, I would have taken the profits. My options jumped up $2, but they didn't, and I kept it. And a lot of times, if you can't, because of PD2 rules, you can't stay in, just ask me if it's good to stay over, keep it overnight, and I'll tell you. Because a lot of times I'll sell off part of it, take profits, and hold part of it as well. The majority of intraday trades, PDT will prevent me from taking those. How have my overnight trades fared? Well, the time spreads have done pretty good. I had a couple of bad time spreads in July, but time spreads have done well. The weekly ATMs have done very well. And the overnight trades have done pretty good. I mean, listen, the swing market, the swinging market has been very difficult lately because of so much chop. And I think that I'd have to go back and look. I think the intraday trades produce a higher win rate than the swing trades do, but the swing trades still produce a win rate in the mid 80s, 84, 85 to 86%. The intraday trades are a little higher than that. They're probably around 90%, 91%. But I mean, either way, the win rates are very, very high. It's pretty hard to find rooms with win rates like that. Do I do any credit spreads? Yes, I do. I do credit spreads quite often. I've got one that's gone against me right now, but we did one in Nike last week that's working well. We've got one in Costco right now that's working well. And I do, the type of strategy that you use depends on what the market and what you think the market's going to do. Right now, the market has been fairly neutral to bullish. Right now, it's turned a little bit slightly bearish, but it's still neutral long term. And in August especially, is a very tough time to trade, because the market there's no volume. A lot of the traders have gone away. They're out to the Hamptons, so you don't get a lot of volume. So what I try to do is sell premium in this kind of a market. Sell put credit spreads, call credit spreads, weekly ATMs, something that I can sell. So we're doing some credit spreads right now. Besides NT, what other platforms are used? Well, NinjaTrader, the Dominator will only run on the NinjaTrader platform. Ninja 8 Dominator will run on. The Compass will run on TOS, which is where I use it. It'll also run on Ninja, and it'll also run on Interactive Brokers, I think. It'll run on Interactive Brokers. I just use it on TOS because I'm used to using TOS, but it does run on a couple of other platforms. If you have a question, you can just call Rory at the number down here, 786-732-4656. Give him a call, and he can tell you exactly what platforms that works on. They've got a technical service department down there. And again, by the way, if you buy the Compass system or the Dominator system, one of the techs, most likely Sergio, who was got a master's degree in computer science, he'll go ahead and take over your machine, install the software on your TOS, and so it'll look exactly like mine does with the same scanners and everything. It'll look exactly like mine does. Is the software proprietary, thick client system, or does it run on existing platforms like Thinkorswim? No, it runs. It's not going to run on TradingView, but the Compass system runs on Thinkorswim. It needs to be put onto the Thinkorswim platform. That's where because the software is actually looking at the Thinkorswim platform to do the calculations it needs to create the indicators and all of the indicators are on the chart. It's going to be looking at those things in the Compass system. It's proprietary calculations that do these things to produce all of the indicators, the momentum, the trend, etc., the quant. But it does run on the platform, and it would be put right on your TOS program. Okay. How much for the ongoing live trading room? The live trading room runs $149 a month. If you talk to Rory, you can probably get a discount if you buy like 3 months worth. But yeah, $149 a month. And I mean, I put a lot of time and effort into this room. I'm there every day from about 9 o'clock till 4:30, 4:15, and I do a lot of education in there. I'm trying to help everybody become basically successful traders, consistently successful traders. And we do that by teaching how to use the Compass system to find the highest probability trade setups, because the institutions are in there. And I also will share a lot of technical analysis we do that I use on my TC2000. I actually use a TC2000 chart, and I'll share a lot of that as well. What time frame are you looking at to do overnight trades? Daily. I use a daily chart. You can use, some people use 4 hours. I use the daily chart. I use the daily chart and the 5-minute chart. When I look at a trade, I'm looking at the daily chart immediately, and then I say, okay, this daily chart looks good. I like it. It's bullish. What's the 5-minute chart look like? That's what I'm looking at. If it's daily, because then when I get into a swing trade, I'm basing my decisions on what I'm going to do with that trade on the daily chart. I'm not going to be, if I get a stock that's long, like Spotify did recently, and it pulled back for a couple of days, but it was still bearish on the daily chart. So I stay in the trade as long as it stayed bearish on the daily chart. And that's, if I get in on a daily chart, I'm going to get out on a daily chart. If I'm getting in as an intraday trade on a 5-minute chart, it depends on what the daily chart looks like. I may get out based on a break of support on the 5-minute chart, but if I like it on the daily chart, that won't get me out of the trade. I'll stay in the trade. How many trades are overnight? Do you clarify on the alerts? Well, when you get the alert, I'm going to tell you when you'll get an alert for a sell price, because I don't know when I get in the trade. Now, if you're doing a credit spread, or you're doing a weekly ATM, or you're doing a time spread, all of those are going to be overnight. There's no question. Those are all going to be overnight. When I give you a long call or a long put, they could be intraday or they could be overnight. It just depends on how the trade moves. But you got to remember, when you take it, when I give you a long put or a long call, you've got to know that I've already decided that that's a good daily chart. If I'm short, like I'm long, like I was long short Spotify. If I'm short Spotify and I get out during the day, but you know that daily chart is a short setup, because I wouldn't have taken it if it wasn't. That gives you a lot more ability to stay in the trade overnight, even if I've closed it out. And you can just ask me about that. And a lot of times I'll close out part of my trade and stay in another one. All right. Did I mention how many trades a week I do? I don't know. I mean, I do the trades. These, again, we're looking for high probability trade setups. One of the things I tell everybody in the room is, our objective as traders is not to make trades. Our objective is to make money. We make money by making only the right trades. So some weeks there may be, some days I'll have 2 or 3 for alerts. Some day I won't have any. But generally speaking, you can expect in the neighborhood of probably on the alert service, somewhere between 3 and 8 a week or so. It's about the best I can do. It just depends. If there's no good trades, you're not going to get anything. And think of it that way. If you're not in a trade that would have been bad, you're saving money. In other words, we trade the best and skip the rest. Skipping the rest is a very important part of that statement. We don't want to be in trades that are mediocre trades. Are my trade alerts for options and stocks? Well, you can, Henry, you can trade on any kind of alert that goes out. you can just as easily trade the stock if you want. I will trade stock sometimes if the options are not good, and I'll tell you that I've taken stock. But generally, when I send the trade out, it's most likely for options. But if you don't want to trade options, and I give you a stock, and you look at the stock, if it's long, then you certainly can take the stock. You don't have to take the options. I take the options because I've got leverage with options. I mean, I've got time decay to worry about, but I have leverage with it. How many positions do I have open at any given time as overnight trades and maybe even considering day trades? I think probably the most trades I've ever had open in the room at one time is 5 or 6. That's probably about as high as it gets. Now, if you're doing a weekly ATM, that's going to be open week after week after week because I keep selling puts against it. But for like trades that are long puts, long calls, put credit spreads can also be 2 or 3 weeks out. But for actual trades, probably no more than 6, usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 or 4. Best way to communicate with me during the trading day? Well, there's a couple ways. I mean, if you're in my room, you can just, you can just type a question in there in the question box because I'm asking it all the time. If not, you can just respond to me through email, or we have a Discord room in here that you have. If you're a member, you can get in the Discord room where we have 2 additional professional traders, Dr. No and Savvy Trader, that are out there posting charts, answering questions all day long. So you won't have any trouble getting a hold of me. If you can't, you can call Rory. He'll get to me. I can give you my Skype, etc. I'm happy to talk to anybody about trading. Do I give a maximum price I should pay for the option? Usually not. I usually just tell you what this is the way I look at options. I don't like to chase stock. So when I've given you a price, let's say I'm saying, okay, $1 to $1.05, put the order in for $1.05. If it goes to $1.20, just let it sit there. The stock is likely to come back and fill you at some point in time. Try not to chase, please. Chasing is not something you want to do. This fear of missing out can kill a lot of traders. What is this? Trend 3 Ultimate Trading System. I don't know what that means. I have some names on some of the stuff that I use. I have the Top Gun system. I have this SPY Super system, Ultimate Trading System. I don't know if they could be what they call it. I don't call it that, but I think this is the Ultimate Trading System, using institutions and market internals. I mean, it's the best you can get. How many positions do I have open any given day? Okay, we talked about that. Again, generally, the most is going to be about 5. When you're doing like put credit spreads and time spreads, the margin requirements are really small. Same as put credit spreads, and what you're paying for long calls and long puts, that's the total risk on those trades. All of the trades that we do are what's called defined risk. You know exactly what your maximum loss is when you get into the trade. No more. You can't lose any more than what the maximum cost you pay for that. So whether it's a time spread or a put credit spread or a long call or a long put, your maximum loss is defined. The webinar is being recorded. Yes, it is, Freddie. You connected late. That's all right. You'll get a copy of it. It'll come to you. Rory will make a copy of this, and you'll get it emailed to you, most likely tomorrow or the next day. Yep, you'll get the replay for sure. All right, listen, I've spent an hour and 20 minutes here. I don't want to take up everybody's time. I appreciate everybody being in the room today. I appreciate what's the biggest challenge you face using the strategy? Listen, the biggest challenge anybody faces with any strategy is the market. The market. If you get things like news events that come along, like we had a couple of losses on the downgrade when Fitch downgraded the U.S. debt. That comes out of nowhere. You cannot plan, and you can't plan for that. something to always be aware of. Technical analysis is excellent tool, but any kind of news event, whether it's earnings or a news event that just comes out of the blue, those override any kind of technicals. So that's the biggest challenge that you're going to have. And then, listen, they can work in your favor, they can work against you, but that's the biggest challenge into the market. The other things, the technical analysis, I can teach everybody that. You can find support, you can find resistance. I draw what's called algo support and resistance lines, which are what the algos use for support and resistance. I can do all of that, and all of that gives you really high probability wins. But you can't do anything about news that comes out and tanks the market or sends the market flying, or news on an individual stock. I mean, if you're in a stock that looks bullish, it's all set up very nicely, and the CFO all of a sudden flies to Argentina in the middle of the night with all the money from the company. There's nothing you can do about that. So that's a big challenge. What are the advantages of this strategy? Well, I mean, the advantages of this strategy, like as I mentioned before, the biggest advantage is you're trading with the institutions. If you want to be a successful trader, you don't want to be trading unless the institutions are trading in that direction. You don't want to be following a trend unless the institutions are creating the trend. That's what's going to make you successful and make you profitable. And so we can identify that. And then I look at things like relative strength and relative weakness. I'm looking for stocks that are outperforming the SPY on the day or underperforming the SPY if I want to go short. So I look at relative strength, relative weakness. I look at volume, and they look at the compass system. The compass system tells me, are the institutions in this trade? That is a huge edge. We've got such a huge edge over other retail traders that don't have this information that I can't even express how big an edge we have over the rest of these people. 95% of traders lose, all right? They either give up or they lose. And it's because they don't have the right tools. And when you've got the right tools like the compass system and the room that I'm in, we have such an advantage of the other retail traders by following relative strength, following the institutions, that it's like the other retail traders are coming to war. Think about when you're trading in the morning, think about it going into battle. And you've got to have weapons to help you win this battle. So you're riding in there with the compass system, the dominator system, and an outstanding ability to understand when the institutions are in. You're in a tank. And the other retail traders are out there with BB guns trying to take money away from you. It isn't going to happen. You're going to roll over these people all the time. What website to use to find all the events coming up on meetings, FOMC, CPI? Well, there's a lot for that. I use a piece of software called the Trade Exchange. It's a news feeding program that tells me all that. But if you go out and just Google market events, upcoming events in the market, there's several of them that you can do. The SpinViz is a bunch of different ones. Freddie, I think the recording will probably be available tomorrow. They have to render it. It takes a little while to render, and then they'll send it out to all the folks who signed up today, who signed up for the webinar. How do I prepare before trading? Well, I do scan stocks at night, and I'm looking for potential setups. But it's not that useful, to tell you the truth, because a lot of those setups just go away in the morning. But what I do is I have stocks that I like bullish, stocks that I like bearish. I put them in a watch list, and when the market opens in the morning, the bullish ones that are green become prospects. The bearish ones that are red become prospects. The bullish ones that are red become no prospects, and the bearish ones that become green, I ignore. But basically, I'm looking at it. I usually wait before I take any trades for half an hour. I don't usually trade for the first half an hour of the market because it's too choppy. I'm looking for some direction in the market so that I can follow the market trend and then find the institutions that are also in the strong trades. That's how I do it. All right, everybody. I think that's it. Again, there's a link in the chat box to the offers that we've got out there. Where is the link? It's in the link should be right there in the chat box. There's a link in the chat box. If you can't find it, just call this number. Call Rory, 786-732-4656. He will answer your questions. He can set you up with the links. He can basically take care of anything that you want to know about. He's a great guy, really busy and really knows the stuff inside out. But they have a tremendous staff down there. And again, they'll help you they'll put the software on the machine for you. They'll explain the alert service to you. They'll set up if you invest in the alert service, they'll put your cell number in the alert service, so you'll be getting the alerts immediately. So look forward to having some folks on board tomorrow in the room or in the alert service and buying the Compass and Dominator system, which I love. I mean, the Compass system changed my trading altogether. Made a huge, huge difference for me to have that. So again, good evening, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here today and spending this much time. It's about an hour and a half. That's plenty. So everybody enjoy the evening and good luck trading, and hopefully we'll see a bunch of people tomorrow. Have a great evening.